Today we're going to have a look at one of the early personal digital assistants from Sony. This is the Sony CLIE PEG-SJ20. It's a Palm OS device, Palm OS version 4.1. It has the Motorola Dragon Ball processor. It's 33 megahertz, and this has a high resolution screen, which was good for its time. It's 320 by 320 pixels. Most devices by then were half that at about 160 by 160. Now the PEG-SJ20 is a monochrome screen. The SJ30, which is the model above this one, had a color screen. And it also has 16 megabytes of RAM in it. And so if you lose battery power, you lose all your applications and data. Since it's RAM on here, they didn't really use flash memory much at the time in these devices. It also features the Sony memory stick expansion slot. You can use a GPS or some other devices in there that use the Sony memory stick, or you can just put a Sony memory stick in there and you can expand your memory capacity. The PEG-SJ20 and 30 also has the Jog Dial Navigator that you can scroll up and down through menus. You can press in to use it as OK, and then you also have a back button under it that you can use to exit out of the applications. It includes the typical stylus. I don't know how many people know this about the styluses that come with PDAs. The top and bottom of them typically come apart, and they usually have some kind of item related to the PDA. The tips on both ends of this have a little point, and that's for hitting the reset button in the back of the PDA. Now, I know I've had a handspring visor that had one of these, and the bottom was the reset and the top was a little Phillips screwdriver. So, not that many people knew that. You can take the front flip cover off of this if you want to put it in a slip case. And there's your user replaceable battery. You gotta take that screw out there to get to it. And on the side here we have the Sony KB11 Foldable keyboard for the CLIE. We'll look at that in a minute, but we'll look at the PDA itself first. So we'll turn it on here. And like I say, this is using the Palm OS 4.1 OS. And it's a monochrome screen, so you're not going to get any color. You're only going to get about 16 grayscale modes. And because this is running Palm OS 4.1, it still uses the original graffiti handwriting system, which is a little different from the newer Palm OS devices that use the second generation graffiti, which is a little more used to regular handwriting. The graffiti system uses slightly different ways of registering letters and numbers because it uses a very generic setup. Like if you wanted to do the letter F, you would have to go to the left and down. On the newer ones, you can kind of write F on the panel as you would normally when writing it on paper, but with the older system, you had to do it in a single stroke. And same things applies when you want to do punctuation. You have to hit it once, do your punctuation, and then it'll do that. If you want a caps, you have to flick up on the pin. If you want to engage the shift key, if you want a caps lock, you got to do that twice. And also on the side, this is where you'll be writing your numbers. So you've got a designated area for letters, designated area for numbers. And there's a lot of applications that come with the Sony that are specific to it. They've got applications like Photo Stand, which if you upload your pictures to this, you can use this as a portable photo stand, like little photo stands that you can get that you put a memory card in and it replaces like your photos. You can do that with this. You have Picture Gear Pocket, which is the program that pretty much manages all the photos and images you have on the device. And there's stuff for using the memory stick on here. Let's go up some. One of the useful applications that the CLIE comes with is Documents to Go. And with Documents to Go, you can take your Word files and Excel files with you and be able to create them, edit them, and manage them all on the device, and then sync them with your computer. That was an example of a Word document, and then you also have an Excel document I kind of just threw together. So it allows you to do that. Go back to the home page. I hit that twice. And I went ahead and downloaded this. You can install Adobe Reader for the Palm OS on the Palm OS devices. And so you can view your PDF documents on these. That's not included on the CD. You download that from Adobe, but it's a free download that you can put on these devices. Let's see. Another one of the applications it comes with is something called Street Finder, and it's basically a small mapping program provided by Rand McNally, and it allows you to view pretty much basic maps on top of the PDA screen. Now, of course, this is really old by today's standards, but if you wanted to have a general idea of a map of where you are, particularly in a major city, you could download maps to this and view them on the device. Now, before I get too far, I'm going to also show that Jog Dial Navigator. This allows you to scroll through applications, and you can click on one by pressing it in, and if you want to go back, you just hit back. Also, holding the back button allows you to take control of menus and stuff if you need to do that. So it allows you to do one-handed operation of the CLIE if you wanted to. Now let's look at one of the other interesting things. This is always a neat little accessory for PDAs. Are these little foldable full-size keyboards that separate in separate sections that you just slide together like that. And you pull that out to prop it up. There's your connector port. The driver's already been installed on the device, so all I do is just slip it in here. Just like that. And now, I have the ability to go in and use the PDA through the keyboard. So let's see. Go to the new item here, and then I can just start typing whatever. So you can get a full-size keyboard that's pocket size that you can attach to this device, and it just operates off the power of it. You don't need a separate battery or anything to use the keyboard. It runs off the power provided through the connector port, and then when you're done, you can just pull the device off. Put this down first, push it in, put your connector port down, slide the sections apart, and just fold it back up. And there you go. Now you got your keyboard in here, all size again. And the keyboard also comes with this little pouch for carrying. You can fit the keyboard in there, and you can fit the CLIE in there as well if you want to carry them all in one little bag. There's that little reset button, by the way. But other than that, that's pretty much wraps up the Sony CLIE. It's by now it's considered pretty much a generic PDA, but still gives you a lot of functionality in a device like this with their Jog Dial Navigation for one-handed use, Documents to Go, and the memory stick expansion slot to really expand on this. So that is the Sony CLIE PEG-SJ20 and the KB11 Foldable keyboard for the Sony CLIE.